The night was calm. The city outside was quiet, and only the sound of the wind touched the windows. Inside the old house, the man sat alone in his room. His name was Daniel, a simple man in the eyes of the world. He worked in the day, returned home in the evening, and lived a normal life. But tonight something was not normal. The air inside the room felt different. It was heavy, as if the walls carried a secret. Daniel could feel it in his chest, a strange rhythm, almost like another heartbeat that was not his own. He tried to ignore it. He picked up a book, turned the pages, and forced himself to read. But the words refused to stay in his mind. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual. Tick-tock, tick-tock, every second pulled him deeper into unease. He glanced at the curtains. They were closed, but the fabric moved slightly even though no wind came inside. Daniel frowned. He got up, touched the curtains, and felt the cold surface of the glass. Still, his heart told him something was wrong. At that moment, footsteps echoed from the hallway outside. They were soft, careful, almost like someone trying not to be heard. Daniel froze. He lived alone except for his maid, who usually worked during the day and left before night. Who was walking in the hallway at this late hour? The doorknob turned slowly. A quiet creak followed. Daniel's pulse quickened. The door opened, and standing there was Maria, his maid. She was holding a small candle, its flame trembling with her shaking hands. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with confusion. "Maria?" Daniel asked in a low voice. "What are you doing here at this time?" She did not answer. She stood frozen, staring into the room, but not at him. Her gaze was locked on something behind Daniel. Daniel turned slowly, his chest tight. At first he saw nothing but the shadows that filled the corners of his room. Then out of the darkness a faint glow appeared. It was soft, like the shimmer of moonlight on water, but it came from nowhere. Maria gasped, her hand shaking so hard the candle almost slipped. The flame flickered wildly, painting strange shapes on the walls. Daniel's voice was firm now. "Stay calm. Don't scream," but Maria could not move her eyes away. She whispered, her voice barely alive. "What? What is that?" In the far corner of the room, the glow grew brighter. It stretched upward, tall and thin at first, then wider, until it shaped into something that looked almost human, but not quite. The figure stood still, its form made of light and shadows, its presence heavy and powerful. Maria stumbled back a step, her heart racing. She wanted to run, but her legs refused to move. Daniel, however, did not show fear. His eyes were locked on the figure, and though his hands trembled slightly, he forced himself to stand tall. The silence was crushing. The house itself seemed to hold its breath. Even the ticking clock had become too loud, every sound a drumbeat of fear. Maria's voice trembled again. "Sir, please, tell me this is a dream." Daniel did not answer at once. He stepped closer to her, shielding her with his arm, his eyes still fixed on the glowing figure. Finally, he spoke in a whisper. "You should not have come here tonight." Maria's chest rose and fell in panic. She looked at him, then back at the figure. You knew about this?" The figure moved. Not with steps, not with motion like a human, but with a shift, like light bending in water. The glow pulsed, and for a brief second, the room filled with strange patterns on the walls, symbols that vanished before the eye could fully catch them. Maria cried out softly, covering her mouth with both hands. She wanted to scream, but forced herself not to. Daniel leaned closer to her ear and whispered again, "If you want to live, stay quiet. It can hear fear. It can see what your mind thinks." Her eyes widened even more. She shook her head, unable to believe yet unable to deny what was standing before her. The figure, now clearer, tilted its head. Its face was not human, but neither was it monstrous. It was alien, its eyes glowing like twin stars focused on both of them. A soundless hum filled the air, vibrating in their bones like a voice that did not need words. Maria dropped the candle. The flame died as it hit the floor, leaving only the glow of the figure to light the room. The shadows deepened, and the house felt no longer like a home, but like a place that belonged to another world. Daniel placed a hand on Maria's shoulder. She was shaking like a leaf in a storm. He said firmly, though his voice carried sadness, "Now you have seen it, and there is no turning back." Maria's lips moved, but no words came out. Her mind screamed, her body begged to run, but her soul was trapped in the gravity of the moment. The figure's glow spread wider, casting its strange light on the room. books on the walls, even on their faces. The symbols appeared again for a heartbeat, filling the space with a language not of Earth. Maria finally whispered, tears forming in her eyes. This is not real. Daniel's eyes darkened. It is real, and tonight your life has changed forever. The silence that followed was heavy, deeper than night itself. The figure pulsed again, and the story of what it wanted to reveal had only just begun. Maria's hands shook as she pressed her back against the wall. Her breath came in short bursts, her chest rising and falling as if she had run for miles. The candle was gone, its flame lost on the floor. Only the strange glow from the figure lit the room. Her eyes stayed locked on the thing standing near the corner. She could not look away. It was like the world around her had frozen, and only this being was alive. Its body shimmered, its outline shifting like smoke inside glass. It looked tall, almost human, but with edges that never stayed still. Its eyes glowed like twin suns, silent but powerful. Maria whispered in fear, What is this? What are you hiding here, sir?" Daniel's face was calm, but his voice carried a heavy weight. "Maria, listen to me. You were not supposed to see this." "Not now." Her eyes darted to him. "You knew you've been hiding it? In this house?" The figure shifted. It did not move like a man, but the glow around it pulsed in slow waves. The air thickened. Maria felt her ears ring, like pressure pressing inside her skull. Then, without opening a mouth, the figure spoke. Not words, not sound, but a voice inside her mind. "Do not fear." Maria's knees weakened. She almost fell, but grabbed the wall to steady herself. Her heart pounded like a drum. She shouted, but her voice broke. It spoke inside me. "I heard it." Daniel placed his hand on her arm. His eyes were firm. "Yes, that is how it speaks. Do not resist. If you fight, it will hurt more." The figure's eyes glowed brighter. The hum inside their heads grew stronger. Maria covered her ears, but it made no difference. The voice was not in the room, it was inside her own thoughts. "I mean no harm. I was called here. I was asked to stay." Maria gasped, looking at Daniel in shock. You called it? You asked it to stay. Why? What is this madness?" Daniel's jaw tightened. He stared at the glowing figure, then looked back at her. "Because the world is not what you think it is. Because humanity is not alone." Maria's mouth went dry. She shook her head again and again. No, this is not real. This is a dream. I am asleep. I'll wake up and all this will vanish." The figure tilted its head. The glow rippled, and suddenly the walls of the room flickered with strange patterns. Symbols and shapes that danced like fireflies. They were not any letters Maria knew, but they pulsed with meaning. Like each mark carried a hidden message. Maria screamed and stumbled forward, away from the wall, her hands clutching her head. "Stop, please stop." Daniel caught her by the shoulders. His grip was steady, grounding her in the chaos. He whispered harshly, "Calm down, Maria. It won't hurt you if you stay calm." Her eyes filled with tears. "Why me? Why am I here? Why am I seeing this?" Daniel's gaze darkened. His voice dropped low, almost like a confession. "Because you opened the door, and once you see, there is no way back." The alien's light pulsed again. This time its presence grew closer, though its feet never touched the ground. It simply shifted across space as if distance had no meaning to it. Maria's heart stopped. It was inches from them now. The glow lit her skin, made her hair shine like silver threads. The voice came again, deep and calm, vibrating through her very bones. She knows now. She is part of this. The secret cannot stay hidden from her. Maria shook her head violently. "No, I don't want this. I don't want to be part of anything. I'm just a maid. I just clean, I just serve. I don't want this." But the alien ignored her cries. It turned its shining eyes toward Daniel. "You trusted me. You kept me hidden. But now she has seen. Her fate is bound to yours." Daniel exhaled slowly. His face carried regret. He whispered almost to himself, "I knew this day would come." Maria grabbed his sleeve, panic rising. "Tell me the truth. Tell me everything." Who is this? What is happening? Please, I need to know." Daniel looked at her, his voice heavy. "It is not a ghost. It is not a demon. It is not even from this world. It is a traveler, from far beyond our stars." The words cut through Maria like knives. She felt dizzy, her body trembling as the room seemed to spin. No, that's impossible. Aliens don't exist. The figure pulsed brighter, and suddenly images filled her mind. Not dreams, not imagination, memories, cities made of crystal towers, worlds covered in oceans of light, giant ships drifting through endless space, creatures she could not describe walking on strange lands. Maria fell to her knees, clutching her head, her eyes wide in terror. "It's showing me things. I can see them. Oh God, it's real." Daniel knelt beside her. "I'm sorry, Maria, but now you understand. This is the truth I've been carrying." Tears rolled down her face. Her hands shook as she whispered, "Why? Why is it here? What does it want from us?" The alien's voice boomed in her thoughts, clearer than ever. "Because your world is in danger, and the time of choice is near." Maria's body went cold. She looked at Daniel, then at the glowing being. For the first time in her life, she wished she had never opened that door. But the door was open, and the truth could not be unseen. Maria sat on the cold floor, her breath fast and shallow. Her heart was still racing from the visions that had filled her mind. Strange cities, endless space, creatures not of Earth. She felt small, weaker than she had ever felt before. Her hands pressed against her chest as if to stop her heart from bursting out. Daniel stood beside her, his eyes fixed on the glowing figure. He was calm, though his lips were tight and his shoulders tense. He had lived with this presence for months, maybe longer, but now the secret was broken. Now Maria knew. The figure moved closer, though its feet never touched the ground. It did not walk, it shifted as if the room bent around it. The glow from its body grew brighter, filling every corner with soft white light. The shadows disappeared, and for a moment, it felt like they were standing not in a small bedroom, but in a place between worlds. Maria covered her face with her hands, whispering again and again, "This is not real. This is not real." But the voice returned deep inside her head, calm but powerful. "I am real. I am here," she gasped, pulling her hands away. Her eyes stared at the figure, tears running down her cheeks. "Why? Why are you here? Why in this house? Why with him?" She pointed a trembling finger at Daniel. The figure's glowing eyes turned to her, and the hum inside her skull grew louder. The walls of the room vibrated as though responding to its presence. Then the voice spoke again. "Because he called me. Because he is one of the few who listen." Maria spun to Daniel, shock and betrayal in her face. You called this thing? You wanted it here?" Daniel looked down, guilt heavy in his eyes. "Yes, I asked it to come. And it came. Why?" Her voice cracked. "Why would you do that?" Daniel swallowed hard. He spoke slowly, each word like a confession. "Because I learned the truth. Humanity is not alone, and I could not stay blind. I had to know more. I had to be ready." The alien's glow rippled again, and Maria's skin prickled as though tiny sparks danced across her arms. The voice filled her head once more, steady and calm. "Your kind believes it rules the stars, yet it does not even rule itself. Wars, greed, violence. You are children with weapons too strong for your hands. If no one guides you, you will destroy yourselves. Or worse, others will destroy you." Maria shivered. Her lips trembled as she spoke. "Others? You mean there are more? More like you?" The glow flared brighter, and for a heartbeat she saw images in her mind again. Massive ships like floating cities drifting across space. Not one, not two, but thousands. Alien faces she could not describe. Some beautiful, some terrifying. All watching. Maria screamed and clutched her head. "Stop, please stop showing me this." Daniel caught her, pulling her close, steadying her as she shook. "Maria, breathe." "It's only showing you the truth. You have to see it." Her eyes burned with fear. "I don't want to see it." "I don't want any of this." The figure's voice returned, softer now, almost gentle. "You cannot unsee the truth. You are part of it now. You opened the door. And once a door is open, it cannot be closed." Maria's tears streamed down her face. She shook her head, whispering, "No, I don't want this fate. I'm just a maid. I don't matter. Why me?" The alien tilted its head, and for the first time its form began to stabilize. Its tall body glowed less wildly now, forming clearer lines, almost human-like but still strange. Its hands shimmered, its face was smooth with glowing marks instead of features. "You matter because you see." Maria's chest tightened. The words echoed in her mind, deeper than anything she had ever heard before. She was nobody. She was poor, forgotten, invisible. And yet, this being from beyond the stars was telling her she mattered. Daniel spoke, his voice low but steady. It doesn't choose by wealth or by power, Maria. It chooses by sight, by those who can accept the truth without breaking. Maria turned to him, eyes full of rage and fear. Then why me? I am breaking. I don't want this truth. Daniel's face hardened. But you didn't run. You stayed. That means more than you know. The alien raised one glowing hand and the room pulsed with light. The air thickened and the floor beneath them trembled. Maria covered her mouth, eyes wide with terror. The voice returned louder than before. Humanity is watched. Humanity is tested. Some are chosen to guide, to warn, to decide. He is one of them. And now you are too. Maria fell to her knees again, clutching her head. No, I can't. I'm not strong enough. Daniel knelt beside her, gripping her arms. His voice was sharp, almost desperate. Maria, listen to me. You are stronger than you think. You saw it, you heard it, and you are still here. That means something. That means you can survive this. The alien's light dimmed slightly as if it was listening, waiting. The hum in the air faded to a low thrum. Maria looked up slowly, her eyes red and wet. She stared at Daniel, then at the glowing being. For the first time, her voice was quiet, trembling, but serious. If this is true, if all of this is real, then what happens next? The alien's glowing eyes locked on hers. The answer came, sharp and final, burning inside her skull. Next, you choose. The room went silent. No clock, no wind, no breath. Only those 3 words remained, echoing again and again in Maria's mind. The room was silent after the alien's last words. Next, you choose. Those 3 words echoed in Maria's head louder than any sound she had ever heard. She sat frozen on the floor, her hands trembling. Daniel stood near her, his jaw tight, his eyes dark with secrets he had carried for too long. Maria finally broke the silence. Her voice was weak, almost a whisper. Choose? Choose what? I don't understand. The glowing figure pulsed with light, its tall form standing like a pillar of fire and shadow. The hum returned, soft but steady, vibrating through their bones. Then the voice filled their minds again. Your world is not safe. Your world is watched. Enemies wait in the dark, preparing for war. Humanity does not know, but soon it will. Maria's lips parted in shock. Her whole body shook as she whispered, War? With who? The alien's glowing eyes turned toward her. For a heartbeat, she felt her thoughts being touched, like someone flipping through the pages of her mind. Then came images not of peace but of fire. Dark ships, sharp like knives, cutting through the stars. Creatures with red eyes and twisted faces. Entire cities burning, worlds falling silent. Maria screamed and pushed herself against the wall, her hands covering her eyes. Stop, please stop. Daniel knelt beside her, holding her shoulders firmly. Maria, don't fight it. I know it's terrifying, but you have to see. She looked at him with wet, trembling eyes. You knew about this? You've seen this before? Daniel nodded slowly, his face heavy with sorrow. Yes, I've seen the visions. I've heard their warnings. That's why I brought it here. I wanted to be ready. Maria stared at him in disbelief. Ready? Ready for what? You're just one man. What can you possibly do against this? The alien's voice returned, stronger now, filling every corner of the room. He cannot fight alone. No human can. But some are chosen to guide. Some are chosen to carry messages, to prepare others, to make the world ready for what comes. Maria shook her head violently. No, not me. I don't want this. I'm not strong, I'm not smart. I'm just a maid. But the alien's glow grew brighter, surrounding her in its light. You saw me. You did not run. You endured the truth without breaking. That is strength. That is why you were chosen. Maria clutched her head, tears streaming down her face. I didn't endure. I'm terrified. I can't breathe. I'm shaking all over. Daniel's voice cut through her panic, low and steady. Maria, you're still here. That means you're stronger than you think. Most people would have fainted or gone mad. But you're still standing. She stared at him, confused, broken, and scared. I don't want to be standing. I just want my old life back. The alien moved closer, and the room filled with a blinding white glow. The hum grew louder until it was like thunder inside their skulls. Then, as if the light itself carried meaning, the words appeared in both their minds. Your life cannot go back. Once you see, there is no return. You are part of the mission now. Maria's lips trembled. What mission? The glow dimmed slightly, and the alien raised one hand. Strange symbols appeared in the air, glowing like fire. The walls of the room vanished for a moment, and instead they stood inside a vision of the stars. Endless space stretched around them. The alien's voice carried through the vision. Your world is young. It does not yet know the war that waits. There are others who want Earth, not for peace, not for life, but for conquest. Maria's stomach twisted. She whispered, "Others. You mean invaders?" The alien's glow pulsed. "Yes, they come. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. Humanity must be ready, and that is why I am here," Daniel spoke, his voice sharp. "To prepare us?" "Yes." The alien's answer thundered inside their skulls. "To guide, to teach, to choose who will carry the warning, who will spread the truth before it is too late." Maria pressed her hands against her chest, her voice breaking. No, not me. I can't do this. I don't even know what to say. Nobody would believe me." The alien's eyes glowed brighter like burning stars. "Belief is not required. Action is. Those who listen will survive. Those who ignore will fall." Daniel's hand tightened on Maria's arm. He looked at her with a mixture of pity and determination. "Maria, I didn't expect this. I thought I could handle it alone. But now it's you two. And maybe that's how it was always meant to be." Maria shook her head, her whole body trembling. "I don't want it. I don't want this mission. I just want to live my life." The alien's light dimmed again, becoming softer, calmer. "Life is no longer only yours. Once chosen, fate follows. You are part of something greater. Humanity's survival depends on those who accept this burden." Maria's tears rolled down her cheeks. She covered her face, sobbing quietly. Daniel stood looking at the alien with a hard stare. "Tell us what to do. If this is real, if the war is coming, tell us how to stop it." The alien's body pulsed one last time, and its voice grew deep and final. "You cannot stop it, but you can prepare. That is the mission. Carry the warning. Share the truth, and when the time comes, stand ready." The vision of the stars faded. The walls of the room returned. The air felt heavy, as though the house itself had changed. Maria sat on the floor, her eyes empty, her spirit shaking. Daniel looked at her, then at the alien. "She's not ready." The alien's glowing eyes fixed on Maria. Its voice whispered softly in her head. "None are ready, but all must choose." The silence that followed was deeper than ever. Maria realized her life, her world, would never be the same. She had not asked for this mission, but the mission had chosen her. Maria sat motionless on the floor. Her body felt heavy, as if all strength had left her. The alien's last words still echoed in her head. "None are ready, but all must choose." She wanted to scream. She wanted to deny everything, but deep inside she knew it was useless. She had seen the visions, felt the hum inside her soul, and touched a truth that could never be erased. Her life was broken into two pieces now, before the visitor and after. Daniel stood near her, silent, watching her struggle. He wanted to speak, but what could he say? He had lived with this truth for months, and even he still carried the weight of fear. For Maria, who had seen it all in a single night, the burden was almost too much to bear. Finally, Maria's trembling voice filled the silence. "Why me? Why not someone stronger? A soldier, a leader, a scientist, why me?" The glowing figure stepped closer, its form bending space around it. The air vibrated as it spoke, not in sound but in thought. "Because soldiers follow orders, leaders crave power, scientists seek knowledge. But you seek none of these. You are pure. You see without desire. You feel without control. That is why the choice is yours." Maria's chest tightened. She shook her head violently. No, I don't want this choice. I can't decide something like this." Daniel crouched beside her, his voice steady but urgent. "Maria, listen to me. It's not about wanting. It's about need. If it chose you, then it means you're capable, even if you don't believe it." Tears streamed down her face. "Capable? I can barely breathe right now. I can't even look at it without shaking. I'm nothing, Daniel. I'm nobody." Daniel's hand gripped hers firmly. "You're not nobody." "Not anymore." The alien's eyes glowed brighter, filling the room with white fire. Its voice pressed deep into their minds. "The time is near. The enemy waits in the shadows. You must decide. Will you join us? Or will you fall with those who refuse to see?" Maria felt her whole body shiver. She stared at the alien with wide, tearful eyes. "Join you? What does that mean? What do you want from me?" The answer struck her like a thunderclap. "To carry the warning, to prepare your people, to stand as one of the voices of Earth when the war begins." Maria's mouth went dry. She whispered, barely able to form words. "Me? A voice of Earth?" Her heart screamed in terror. She imagined standing before others, speaking of war, of aliens, of danger beyond the stars. They would laugh at her, call her crazy. No one would believe her, and yet the images she had seen were real. Too real. Daniel placed his hand on her shoulder. Maria, you may not see it now, but this is bigger than fear. Bigger than both of us. If Earth has even a chance to survive, we have to take it. Maria stared at him, her breath shaking. You've already chosen, haven't you? Daniel nodded slowly. Yes, the day I called it, I chose. I accepted the burden, and I was ready to carry it alone. But fate had other plans. Now it's you too. Her tears fell harder. I don't want fate. I want freedom. The alien's voice returned, calm but heavy like stone. Freedom and fate are the same. Choice is freedom. But choice is also fate. Decide. Maria stood slowly, her legs weak, her body trembling. She looked at the alien, then at Daniel. The room felt smaller now, like the walls were closing in. The weight of the universe pressed down on her shoulders. Her voice cracked as she asked, "And if I refuse? What happens if I say no?" The alien's glow dimmed, and for a moment the room grew colder. Its voice answered with no hesitation. "Then you will forget nothing. You will live with the truth but die with your world when the time comes. The choice will pass to another, but the burden of knowing will remain with you forever." Maria froze. The thought of living the rest of her life with this knowledge, powerless to stop what was coming, was almost worse than death itself. Daniel spoke softly, his voice breaking through her fear. "Maria, I can't tell you what to do, but I'll stand with you no matter what. If you accept, I'll fight beside you. If you refuse, I'll carry it alone, but you have to choose." Maria wiped her tears with shaking hands. She stared into the alien's glowing eyes. Her heart raced, her breath uneven, but somewhere deep inside a small fire flickered. A voice whispered, "If not me, then who?" She whispered aloud, her voice barely a breath, "If I say yes, what happens next?" The alien stepped closer, its light surrounding her in warmth and fire. "Then you will no longer walk as only yourself. You will walk as one chosen. The path will be hard. The danger will be great, but you will stand as a shield for your world." Maria closed her eyes. She remembered the visions, the burning cities, the ships in the sky, the endless darkness creeping closer. Her fear was still there, sharp and heavy, but another feeling now rose inside her. Responsibility. When she opened her eyes again, they were wet but steady. She lifted her chin, her voice quiet but clear. "I don't know how. I don't know why me. But if this is the only way, then I choose yes." The alien's body pulsed with brilliant light, so bright it forced Daniel to shield his eyes. The hum grew louder, shaking the walls, rattling the windows. For a moment, it felt like the whole world knew her answer. Then the voice filled the room one final time. "It is done. The choice is made. Now the path begins." Maria stood trembling, her hands tight at her sides, her tears still fresh. She had chosen. But the terror in her heart told her one thing clearly. The hardest part had not yet begun. The air in the room was still trembling after Maria's choice. Her words, "I choose yes," were still hanging in the silence. The alien's light glowed brighter, wrapping her like a strange crown of fire. Daniel looked at her with pride, though his eyes carried worry. He knew what this meant. He knew her choice had consequences. Maria stood shaking but firm. For the first time, she had not run. For the first time, she had stood in front of the unknown and said yes, but the alien did not celebrate. Its glowing form stiffened, its light flickering. The hum in the air shifted, turning from calm to sharp. The voice inside their minds came again, but this time it was not gentle. "They know. They are here." Maria's blood ran cold. Who is here?" Daniel's face turned pale. He already knew the answer. The alien pulsed, the glow flashing like lightning across the walls. "The hunters. The shadows. They have tracked me. They come to silence those who choose." Before Maria could ask another question, the ground shook. A deep rumble rolled through the house. The walls groaned, the ceiling creaked. Dust fell from above. Maria screamed and grabbed Daniel's arm. The windows shattered. Cold wind rushed in, carrying a sound that made Maria's skin crawl, a high-pitched screech, sharp and unnatural. She clutched her ears, crying out. Daniel pulled her behind him, his eyes scanning the darkness outside. Shapes moved in the yard. At first only shadows, then glowing red eyes blinking one by one. Maria's chest tightened. She whispered, "What are those?" The alien's voice answered heavy and grim. "The enemy's scouts. They come to kill. They come to silence. The front door burst open with a crash. Wood splintered and the night air flooded inside. Figures stepped through. Tall, twisted creatures with sharp limbs and black skin that seemed to drink the light. Their red eyes glowed like fire. Their bodies bent unnaturally, crawling and walking at the same time. Maria screamed and stumbled back, clutching Daniel's sleeve. They're monsters. They're real monsters. Daniel pulled her close, his face hard with determination. Stay behind me. The alien stepped forward. Its glow flared brighter, filling the room with blinding light. The creatures hissed, their screeches cutting into the night like knives. One leapt forward, its claws outstretched. The alien raised its hand. A wave of pure energy blasted outward. The creature flew back, crashing into the wall, its body burning with strange light before turning to ash. Maria covered her mouth, her eyes wide. She had never seen anything like it. For the first time she understood. This was war. But the attack did not stop. More creatures poured in through the broken windows, crawling across the walls, their red eyes fixed on Maria. She felt her heart stop. Why are they looking at me? She cried. The alien's voice thundered in her skull. Because you chose. Now you are a target. Her knees almost gave way, but Daniel grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the back of the room. Don't give up, Maria. Don't let fear win. The creatures hissed, leaping closer. Daniel grabbed a heavy chair and swung it at one, knocking it back. Another clawed at him, ripping through the wood, but the alien blasted it into dust before it touched him. The house shook again as more shadows slammed against the walls. Maria cried, "There are too many. We can't stop them!" The alien's voice was sharp and fierce now. You cannot fight them all. But you can survive. You must survive. Maria looked at Daniel, terror in her eyes. But how? Where can we go? The alien spread its arms. Light exploded from its body, forming a glowing shield around them. The creatures screeched in rage, slamming against the barrier, their claws sparking against the glowing wall. The house trembled under their force. Run, the alien commanded. Go where they cannot follow. I will hold them here, Maria's eyes widened. No, you'll be destroyed. The alien's voice softened even in the chaos. I was never meant to last. I was meant to prepare. You must live or all is lost. Daniel gritted his teeth. He didn't want to leave it behind, but he knew the alien was right. He pulled Maria's arm. Come on, we have to go. Tears streamed down Maria's face. She looked back at the glowing figure standing strong against the storm of shadows. For the first time she understood sacrifice. They ran through the back hall, the floor shaking beneath their feet. Creatures screeched behind them, hammering against the shield. The sound of the alien's energy blasts filled the house, each one shaking the walls. As they reached the back door, Maria turned for one last look. The alien stood tall, its light burning like a star, holding back the darkness. The voice reached her one final time, soft and clear inside her mind. Do not fear, Maria. You chose. Now carry the choice. Live. The door burst open and Daniel dragged her into the cold night. They ran through the yard, the sky above them filled with strange lights. Red streaks cut across the clouds and shadows crawled along the rooftops. The war had already touched their world. Behind them, the house shook with a final blast of light. A wave of energy burst outward, throwing dust and fire into the sky. The creatures shrieked, their cries echoing into the night. Maria stumbled, her heart breaking. She cried out, "It's gone!" The alien. "It's gone!" Daniel pulled her to her feet, his voice hard but steady. "No, Maria, it gave us a chance. And now we have to use it." Her tears fell, but inside her chest the fire burned stronger. She had chosen. The enemy had come. And now her journey had truly begun. The night was no longer silent. The house behind them burned with strange light, the alien sacrifice echoing in every flash. Maria and Daniel stumbled through the yard, their lungs heavy, their hearts racing. The cold wind carried the distant cries of the enemy creatures, but for now, the shield of light had bought them time. Maria's legs almost gave out. She fell to her knees in the wet grass, clutching her chest. Tears streamed down her face. It's gone. It gave its life for us. Why me? Daniel knelt beside her, holding her shoulders firmly. His face was pale, his eyes tired, but his voice carried strength. Because you chose, Maria, it believed in you. That's why it stayed behind. It wasn't just saving us, it was saving hope. Maria shook her head, choking on her sobs. I'm just a maid. I clean rooms, I wash floors. I'm not a hero. I don't know how to fight. I don't know how to save anyone. Daniel's grip tightened. Heroes are not born, Maria. They're made when the moment demands it. And tonight the moment found you. Before she could reply, the ground trembled. A dark shadow swept over the yard, blotting out the moonlight. Maria looked up and gasped. Above them, a massive shape moved across the sky, larger than any plane, darker than the clouds themselves. Strange red lights blinked across its surface. Her blood turned to ice. What is that? Daniel's voice dropped low, grim. One of their ships. The hunters aren't finished. They know you escaped. The air grew colder. The grass bent under invisible weight. Maria felt pressure pressing on her skull. The same crushing sensation she had felt when the alien first spoke to her. But this was different, harsher, painful, violent. She cried out, clutching her head. A voice not like the alien's calm hum, but sharp and cruel, filled her mind. Chosen one, we see you. We will find you. And we will end you. Maria screamed, falling forward, her hands digging into the soil. Daniel pulled her close, shouting, "Fight it, Maria! Don't let them break you." But the voice pressed harder, like claws tearing through her thoughts. You are weak. You are nothing. You cannot save them. You will die and your world will burn. Maria's tears blurred her vision. Her heart begged her to give up. But then, through the pain, another memory surfaced. The alien's last words. Do not fear, Maria, you chose. Now carry the choice, live. Her breathing steadied, though her body still shook. She whispered through clenched teeth. I will not break. The cruel voice hissed, then faded, leaving only silence. Maria collapsed into Daniel's arms, trembling but alive. Daniel looked at her with awe. You fought it off. They tried to crush you and you fought them off. Maria's voice was weak but steady. Not because I'm strong. Because it believed in me, and I can't let its sacrifice mean nothing. Before Daniel could answer, a sudden warmth filled the yard. A faint glow shimmered in the air, soft and familiar. Maria lifted her head, eyes wide. No, it can't be. The glow shaped itself into a form. Not as bright as before, not as strong, but there like a shadow of light. The alien, Daniel gasped. It survived? The figure pulsed, its voice faint but clear inside their minds. Not survived. Remnant. A fragment of what I was. Enough to guide, not to fight. Maria's eyes filled with tears again, but this time not of fear. You came back. The figure's light wavered. I cannot stay long. But before I fade, you must know, the war is not far. The hunters you saw tonight are only scouts. Behind them waits an army. Behind them waits their master. Daniel's fist clenched. Then tell us how to stop them. Tell us how to win. The figure turned its glowing eyes toward him. You cannot win by strength. Their power is greater, but humanity has what they do not. Heart, unity, the will to rise when all seems lost. If enough humans choose as she has chosen, then your world can stand. Maria felt her heart pound. So, I'm not the only one? The alien's glow pulsed. No, others will be chosen. Scattered across your world, they will awaken. You are the first to see, but not the last. Maria's breath caught in her chest. For the first time, the crushing weight of loneliness lifted slightly. She was not completely alone. Somewhere out there, others would carry the same burden. The alien's light began to fade, its voice softer now. Maria, remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to walk forward, even when fear holds you still. You chose. Do not forget why. Maria reached out, her hand trembling as she touched the fading glow. Wait, don't leave. I still don't know what to do. The alien's voice whispered one last time. You will. When the time comes. You will. The glow vanished, leaving only the cold night and the sound of the wind. Maria collapsed into Daniel's arms, tears streaming down her face. But her heart, though heavy, carried a spark. She looked at the burning ruins of the house, at the sky where the enemy's ship still lingered. Fear filled her, but so did something else. Resolve. She whispered to herself, as much a promise as a prayer. I will carry it. I will not run. If humanity's fate depends on me, then I will not fail. Daniel wrapped his arm around her shoulders. His voice was steady, though his eyes carried worry. Then we fight together. Whatever comes, we face it side by side. Maria nodded, her gaze fixed on the dark horizon. The world she once knew was gone. A greater war waited beyond the stars. And now? She was no longer just a maid. She was a chosen voice of Earth. The revelation was clear. Humanity was not alone, and its future rested on her choice.